One of the themes that we thought that we would start with this morning is talking about separate realities. And what we mean by that is, how each of us lives within our own thought bubble. And we see and experience our own thinking. So we're all one on the formless level of this beautiful universality of formless energy. But then we have this amazing ability through thought to bring our own personal experience, to have our own personal experience, which is the gift of the personal and the impersonal. And so through thought, we create our own reality, and we're not doing that consciously. We're not consciously creating a reality. It just happens. That is the power of thought. That is just how amazing it is to have the ability to bring thoughts to life, to have thought come through. And so with that, we each have our own individual thought bubble that is similar to some people's, maybe completely different than others, but always unique, always unique. And so and I was thinking about that last night, I was remembering how in one class that I was at, one of the teachers shared how when the boats from Europe were coming to the New World and the indigenous people were on the shore, they didn't see the boats. They didn't see these huge Spanish galleons coming into up to the shore because they didn't exist for them. They didn't exist in their thought. They had no word, no thought for that, so they didn't even exist. And I remember being kind of really? They couldn't see them? They really couldn't see them. And then I thought, I do that all the time. I do that all the time. Angus will be like, oh, did you notice that I moved this? I'm like, no, I didn't notice that. I didn't see it. And so it's we experience what we're thinking, and if it's not in our thought, we're not experiencing it. And it's it's not there. And so that's part of what the experiences of separate realities is. Some people see things, it's in their thinking. Somebody else doesn't have it, it doesn't exist for them. But we oftentimes don't take that into account because it looks so obvious to us. Obviously, there's these Spanish galleons, can't you see them? But no. So being able to understand the diversity in our separate realities is hugely helpful for interpersonal relationship. And then the other thought that I had was, okay, so yes, when something doesn't exist as thought, we don't see it, we don't experience it. But what about the times where we experience something that's not even there? Right? That happens too. So it's but I'm sure you said that to me. And it's no, I never said that. But I'm sure I heard you say that. No, I never said that. So it's our minds are just so active and capable of creating, and that we put things together oftentimes. So there'll be a dot here and a dot here, and then we fill in that blank with our own thinking. And we don't even realize that we're doing that. It happens so fast. We make so many assumptions without even recognizing that we're doing that. And so it's, to me, I never get bored with realizing wow, I'm seeing my own thinking. I'm not really seeing some unfiltered reality. I'm really seeing my own thoughts. And if I'm in a low mood, then my life and my world reflects that. It reflects the quality of my thinking. If I'm in a great mood, then my world and my life reflects that. And I can be with another person in exactly the same situation, and they're having a completely different experience to me in that. And so it's that level of diversity is so rich, but it can also be challenging when we don't take it into account and when we don't make room for the truth of someone else's experience, that is their experience, right? And that's real for them, even though it's not real for us in that way.